Welcome back, eSIM Studios. Thank you for joining me today. Now, I want to set the record straight on a big rumor that's going around the internet. And what is that rumor? Well, rumor has it that the iPhone 17 Air, we've talked about this at nauseum, cannot wait for that device to get here. In fact, I think I'm going to trade in my iPhone 16 Pro Max for a iPhone 17 Air. Anyways, there's rumors going around that this device is going to come without a charging port. That's correct, without a charging port. It's going to be so thin. Have y'all seen the Oppo Find In 5? It's the Oppo's new foldable device. It was supposed to be the OnePlus Open 2 that got nixed. It's so thin that when you fold it open, obviously one panel, one side of when you fold it open like a book has the charging port. It is so thin, it's basically the thickness of a USB Type-C charging port. Now, there's a bunch of rumors going around the internet that Apple is going to introduce this new iPhone model without a charging port. Now, I'm sure you're asking, well, if it's not going to come with a charging port, how the hell are you going to charge it? Well, it would be charged via wireless charging, only wireless charging. Now, I want to disprove this rumor, and I also want to prove to you that I was on this news 2 years ago. 2 years ago, I had broke this story before anybody else on the internet. Now, they will introduce a device without a charging port, just not this year. So, if y'all are familiar with Greggles TV, you may or may not have seen this gentleman right here. He put out a video today claiming that this new iPhone 17 Air is going to be portless. He claims that it will be introduced without a charging port, and that is false. Now, he gets his information from a tweet. Now, this tweet is from Debian Roy Gadgets Data, who says the iPhone 17 Air will be Apple's slimmest iPhone, and according to reports, it will be the first portless iPhone. Now, EU also confirmed that Apple can launch a portless iPhone. Hope this is not the starting of omission of charging ports like the Apple removed the 3.5 millimeter and others followed. So, three pieces of information there we're going to talk about. So, the very first piece of information is completely false, right? Now, we know this is false because Mark Gurman is probably the most in news and media. He's probably the most or the biggest insider as far as Apple's concerned as anybody in the industry. Mark Gurman only reports on Apple, Apple news, Apple products, their roadmaps. He is employed by Bloomberg. Now, he puts out a weekly newsletter. It's very informative. In fact, if you would like to subscribe to his newsletter, you certainly can. Here's the report saying, now it's behind a paywall, so if you try to click on this story, you'll get to a paywall where they want you to subscribe. I think it's like $12 a month. Anyways, for you may not be informative. For me it is. He explicitly says in this week's newsletter that Apple considered the no charging port on this year's iPhone 17 Air. They considered it, but are not going to move forward. And here is his email. You can also sign up for his weekly newsletter on the big events or topics that involves Apple. You can subscribe to his email. It says it in his email right here as well. So not shame on, but Greggles TV, not necessarily doing his homework. Now, when I present to you the viewer news, especially when it comes to leaks and rumors, most of what I present to you, the viewer, is the truth, at least up to that point. See what I'm saying? I actually do my homework on each and every topic that I bring up, whether it's a rumor, whether it's a leak. If it's a leak, sure. If you got real pictures, we'll present them to you. But when it comes to this type of stuff, I try to do my homework. I don't want to present to you like Greggles TV did here and say, oh my God, they're going to have a portless iPhone. Holy crap. Because that's basically what he says. And that's just false. And now he's got egg on his face because it's just not true, right? So Mark Gurman of Bloomberg disproves this. And I called this out 2 years ago. So do you want to see the proof? 2 years ago, before anybody on the internet. And I did my homework on that. So this is a video I put out. Look at this. Look at what it says at the bottom. 2 years ago. Future next generation iPhone ditching the dynamic island, which they will in the future. Have a buttonless iPhone, which they will in the future. And it'll be a no button. And if you go watch that video, I'll describe in that video. There's the app in the future, probably in the next 2, maybe 3 years. That's in the roadmap, right? We've discussed this. They're gonna ditch the dynamic island. They're gonna do an under display selfie camera and Face ID. They're going to ditch the buttons, meaning it'll be a little spot on the side of the phone that you can power it on or you wouldn't push because it's not going to have a button, but a little spot there, little haptic feedback where you can increase the volume, decrease the volume, but it also includes no charging port. So you're going to have a no charging port, buttonless, dynamic island-less iPhone, right? May not be till the iPhone 19, but it's on the way, right? So I have a source within Apple. I'm not going to obviously let you know who it is, but they told me that. And I was like, holy crap. And I presented it 2 years ago. So I was on top of this. Look, that was like, I think our 3rd episode. It says episode number 3. So that was our 3rd episode. So just a very interesting little tidbit piece of information. And if you're wondering what a buttonless iPhone would look like, well, here you go. A no button iPhone. Now, obviously, that's a 16 series that's modified to have that port taken out. But in the future, you will not have, of course, I guess you would have to have holes or inlets for speakers, right? Now, when it comes to the EU, we'll get to that here in a second. Apple originally, right? So this was in their plans. And again, that goes back to Greggles TV. I don't know. I've never talked to him, but I think he might have gotten this news incorrect because Apple originally considered the iPhone 17 Air to have no ports, including the Type-C port. But as I mentioned, Mark Gurman claims in his latest newsletter launching that the iPhone 17 Air will come with a charging port. Ultimately, Apple decided to go with a USB Type-C port, but the idea of an iPhone without any physical ports is on the table for future variants. The EU came out and said that they will not penalize Apple if it ever decides to launch a portless iPhone, just as long as the device does not encourage, quote unquote, negative effects on consumers and the environment. We all know EU has pushed Apple on a number of major changes just in the last couple of years. So Apple's already been doing their homework and trying to see, because the EU forced Apple to move to a Type-C port. And Apple checked with the EU and said, hey, if we don't put a Type-C port on here, are y'all still going to allow this in your allow us to sell this device in your country if it does not have a charging port? And the EU told them, yes, we will still let you sell the iPhone 17 Air without a charging port. And again, if you do have a phone with no charging port, next best thing is wireless charging. So In my opinion, wireless charging is not fast enough yet. I don't think wireless charging is there yet because it takes forever to charge. Now, I think Apple's going to wait for more wireless charging 2.0 standards to become more common. Wireless 2.0 is out and available now. It's just not that widely adopted. I think there's only 1 or 2 devices that even support wireless charging 2.0. Now, here's the other thing. File transfers. So I think obviously file transfers, you can always transfer quick videos and pictures. I'm assuming AirDrop, right? If you have a iPhone, let's say the iPhone 18 Air does not have a charging port, so you charge it wirelessly. But what about transferring files? Well, you could transfer short videos that don't have a huge file size and pictures via AirDrop, right? If you have a MacBook. But what about big files? What if you're like literally filming a movie on your iPhone, which some people do, or what if you're filming like in log that takes an enormous amount of data? How are you going to transfer a 20 gig file, video file, to your MacBook from your iPhone 18 Air? Quite honestly, I have no idea. I have no idea. I'm assuming they're working that in the background, because when you launch stuff like this that's like kind of never been done before, trust me, they have a whole team that's all they do is try to think and figure out how to basically get shit done, right? How to maneuver around these problems, how to solve these issues that will pop up, right? So I'm sure transferring really, really big file, maybe they have something up their sleeve. Maybe there will be you know how you can wirelessly charge, there's a coil on the back of your device where you can plug it into your wireless charger. Maybe Apple's coming up with a cool way to transfer files through wirelessly, basically with that coil, right? So what if they put like an opposing coil inside a MacBook, or right where you rest your wrist on the right or the left of the mouse pad? What if they put like a coil on either side of there? One side will charge your phone and the other side will file transfer, right? I mean, I don't know if it's possible. I mean, theoretically, I guess it is, but I don't think there's a standard for doing that, right? Because if you transfer files wirelessly, it's through the network, right? It's through your Wi-Fi, it's through Bluetooth. But what if you have a 20 gig file? What if you're making a movie on your iPhone, but you want to transfer it to your MacBook to edit it on your MacBook? Well, I'm assuming they can probably come up with something that can transfer files wirelessly, huge files. Now you can transfer a 20 gig file wirelessly. It's just going to take a while, so maybe they're just going to use that. I have no idea, but I just wanted to put this to rest and let you know that the 17 Air will have a charging port. So if you see people online saying that, oh my God, it's going to be missing a charging port, again, that's false. So appreciate you joining me. Just wanted to clear the air. I am doing a video. I've got a lot of people asking still, and shame on me because I should have put this out a little earlier. I'm going to record it right now. What carriers will work on the Nothing Phone 3A? I'm about to show you right now. So look out for that video. I'm about to upload it record it right now and upload it. And it should be on the channel very soon. Appreciate the time. And as always, I'll see you all tomorrow. Peace out.